Hoodie guy coming back here with another Kaspa video. Today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest risks, maybe the biggest risk, and it probably really goes for any project, but max supply, proof of work, maybe more so. You can see two miners usually shows the hash rate a little bit differently than cast.fyi, but they're showing about 595 right now, 872 over on cast.fyi, chugging along 10 blocks per second. Crazy. If you want to buy a tangent, I got a link down in the description. I'll put it in the pinned comment after the video. But the biggest risk is when you have the max supply. Doge doesn't have a max supply, so it'll just keep infinitely always having Doge for miners. But you got these, Kaspa has a very rapid emission schedule. When you look at this, it's divided by 10 after the crescendo hard fork because there's 10 blocks a second. So basically, to try to get it to match up here, you just have to multiply what it is now by 10. So next year, it'll be 2.75 Kaspa per block times that 10. So basically, every second, there'll be 22 Kaspa. It was 55 Kaspa, so that's already getting cut in half. But you can see by the next bull run in 2029, it'll be 0.24 Kaspa per block times that by 10. So every second there'll be 2.4 Kaspa. But then you can see on the next, 2035, which should be a post halving year for Bitcoin, it's going to be, way down there, 0.005 Kaspa. You times that by 10, it'll be 0.05 Kaspa. So just 5% of a Kaspa every second. So that you'll need transaction fees to pick up to incentivize miners. Now, Bitcoin's got the same problem, just a little different because where Kaspa is going to have, it looks like basically 2057, but once you get it happens before you get to the last one. So you look at Bitcoin, the last, basically 2140, everything will be mined out, then they'll only be on transaction fees. But you can see that already by 2100, that the mining fees, there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros and a 5. Obviously, you need two things. You need transaction fees to pick up, and you need the price of the asset to appreciate. Here we're in the middle of a bull market. There's not a lot going on in terms of the on-chain activity. Sometimes you'll see that these blocks are empty now. They've been pretty full the last day, whatever. But you can see that, the Bitcoin reward block, which I guess it looks like it's been about between 1 and 1.5 and 5% of a Bitcoin paid in transaction fees. But you click on these blocks and it's only has $3,000 for total fees, where the 3.125 plus the total fees is 372,000. So the reward and 3,000 from fees. And this is coming, where retail hasn't really piled in, but we are in the middle of a bull market and there's not a lot of on-chain activity. Kaspa's got a lot of cool stuff going on with Cassie and stuff. Still doesn't have a ton of on-chain transactions. So, Kaspa's going to find out before Bitcoin really does. But to me, that's the biggest risk. Every blockchain still, needs to have the adoption. But, it's going to really, this next 4 or 5 years are pretty important. But by 2035, when you zoom out here to 2035, you're looking at 2 zeros and a 5. So it'll be 1 0 and a 5 every second. That's a big jump from right now, which is basically 22, I'm pretty sure about 22 Kaspa every second to the miners, roughly. I guess I actually know it's right now is there's about 46 Kaspa a second going to miners, so every block's getting 4.6 Kaspa. That's a big drop off in 10 years. So, but as of right now, for me, I'm looking to take profit this cycle. Not saying that's the right way to do. That's what I'm doing probably with 90% of my Kaspa. I'm gonna be selling it off, and I'm not gonna not pay attention. Doesn't mean I don't like Kaspa. I just think that it's gonna go up, and I think it's gonna go down, and maybe we have a contracted, shorter bear market, but that's my plan. Not saying I'm gonna play it right, but that's just what I'm doing. You can see that Bitcoin market dominance is under 62%. Now, we did have kind of a fake out here back in November when it went down to 55%, and then it just ran up. So, we're still keeping an eye on that, but Ethereum breaking out is a pretty good sign. Not sure why it's so laggy. Not sure why it's technical top indicator, whether that's going to get it spot on this time, but you can see that the 111-day moving average is $100,000, and it's moving up there, reconverging. So we'll keep an eye on that. And let me know what you think. I think that's why I think, well, obviously there's risks we don't even know. There's something in the code that might get exposed. We don't know, that might go for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin had some big major flaw that somehow got revealed in the code that no one knew about, that would be bad for all altcoins. But for me, that's why I'm not a maximalist in any project. I got Bitcoin, Kaspa, Dog are pretty much my main holdings. A couple other stuff left over like Cardano, but pretty much Bitcoin, Kaspa, Dog. And I think that right now at a $2 billion market cap, Kaspa is still a pretty good deal. And for the potential reward upside, if it does get the story of it, the narrative catches on, we're getting kind of late in the cycle for everything to go perfect this cycle, but you never know. You can see there's like I can see Kaspa Silver is going to have debate with that Rajat guy that makes lots of Bitcoin videos. And so there's a few more Bitcoin people just thinking about Kaspa and whether they don't like it or doesn't fit their investing narrative or whatever. But you're starting to see more of that. So we'll see how it shakes out. And that's why I think even Bitcoin, yeah, I mean, there's nothing guaranteed for anything. And time will tell who's right. But I think it's not bad to spread around between a few different projects. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. What do you think Kaspa's biggest risk is? I think with the rapid emission schedule that we're going to find out pretty quick, and you're going to need transactions. And, there's smart contracts and stuff coming, on those L2s. You still need the L1 getting a lot of transaction fees to make up for the diminishing minor rewards to keep that hash rate growing. And, the price of the asset to appreciate too. So thanks for watching and have a good day.